Let's dive right into this explainer, 8th graders. We usually think of math as just, well, a giant headache of numbers, rules, and tests that kind of feel like they exist just to torture us, right? But today we're going to flip that on its head. We're exploring something totally fascinating called volume and virtue. By the end of our time together, you're going to see how your math skills are actually these incredibly powerful tools you can use to bless others and make a genuine real-world impact. It's going to put your math classes in a whole new empowering light. Let's get started.
Section 1. Math for Meaningful Service. Using your gifts to help others.
To completely shift our perspective today, we really need to look at math not just as abstract numbers stuck on a piece of paper, but as real, tangible problem solving. Think about Matthew 5:16 for a second. Let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works. Now you might be wondering, what in the world does a Bible verse have to do with geometry? Well, literally everything. See, when you use your specific math gifts to figure out how to safely build a community structure, or maybe how to store life-saving water during a terrible drought, you are doing actual good works. You're using your intellect to literally shine your light in the world. How cool is that?
So here's the absolute crucial point. Volume matters. Being able to accurately calculate volume helps you do incredible things. We're talking about designing storage sheds, measuring out exactly how much paint is needed for a new community center, figuring out the logistics of shipping emergency supplies, or even just collecting rainwater. Mastering these everyday mathematical skills, it genuinely makes you a wise, helpful, and trustworthy person in your community. You literally become that go-to person people can rely on when they have a real problem to solve.
Moving right along to Section 2. Solving for cylinder volume, the farmer's water tank.
Okay, imagine our first real-world scenario. A local farmer urgently needs a water tank to survive a super harsh dry season. He knows he needs a cylinder with a radius of 6 feet and a height of 10 feet. But he needs you to tell him exactly how much water it's actually going to hold. Let's solve it together. To find the volume of a cylinder, our formula is pi times the radius squared times the height. Step 1, we square his 6-foot radius, which gets us 36. Step 2, we take that 36 and multiply it by the 10-foot height, giving us 360. And finally, step 3, we just multiply that 360 by pi. When we multiply 360 by pi, we get roughly 1,130.97 cubic feet. Just like that, you didn't just solve a random boring math problem on a Tuesday. No, you helped secure a farmer's livelihood by guaranteeing over 1,130 cubic feet of life-saving water. Plus, by getting the math right, you made absolutely sure he ordered the right size tank instead of, accidentally flooding his entire barn. That is real-world impact right there.
Let's practice that exact same skill again, but maybe a little closer to home this time. Say a family wants to collect rainwater to conserve municipal water. They've got this cylindrical rain barrel with a radius of 3 feet and a height of 4 feet. Let's follow our steps again. First, we square the 3-foot radius to get 9. Then we multiply that by the 4-foot height, which gives us 36. And finally, we just multiply by pi.
36 times pi gives us approximately 113.10 cubic feet. By doing this quick, simple calculation, you can tell that family exactly how much water they're going to save. This one simple barrel can hold over 113 cubic feet of water. It is just a fantastic way to conserve resources and serve your community. And it's all made entirely possible because you understand volume.
Now for Section 3, Solving for Cone Volume, the storage silo. So now, we're going to add our second tool to your tool belt, the cone. This time, we're calculating the volume of a massive cone-shaped agricultural storage silo. The formula here is actually very similar to the cylinder, but with one major difference. It's exactly 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. Okay, so for our silo, the radius is 4 meters and the height is 9 meters. First, we square that 4-meter radius to get 16. Then we multiply that 16 by the 9-meter height to get 144. Then we multiply 144 by 1/3 and finally by pi. That calculation gives us 48 times pi, which comes out to approximately 150.8 cubic meters. Stop and think about what that number actually represents in physical space for a second. That is 150.8 cubic meters of essential, massive storage space for grain or feed, designed perfectly and understood clearly, all because you took the time to apply your math skills effectively.
Section 4. Your turn to practice. Building your tool belt.
All right, it is time for you to step up and become the hero in training. But before you jump into your practice, I want you to notice a huge, and I mean huge, mathematical hint hidden right here in these formulas. Think about the cylinder formula right next to the cone formula. Visually lock this in your brain. A cone's volume is exactly 1/3 of a cylinder's volume, as long as they share the exact same base and height.
It's this beautifully elegant relationship in geometry that honestly makes memorizing these formulas an absolute breeze. So go ahead and hit pause on this explainer right now. Copy down these 5 homework problems. They cover everything from rainwater drums and storage barrels to giant piles of sand. But as you solve them, I have a challenge for you. I want you to visualize the actual physical objects in space, not just the random numbers on your page. Really try to make sense of the real-world scenario you're working with.
And finally, Section 5, Education with Biblical Morality, the HeroesmartAcademy Philosophy. To wrap up our explainer today, let's take a look at the deep foundation beneath all of this. Because, skills alone aren't the whole picture. I want you to ask yourself a tough question. What's the point of being incredibly smart and supposedly well-educated if you just continue to make bad choices that hurt yourself and the people around you? The hard truth is, education without a strong moral compass can actually cause a lot of harm. Raw knowledge is incredibly powerful, no doubt about it, but it desperately needs a good, solid heart to guide exactly how that power is used out there in the real world.
And that brings us right to the beautiful promise found in Romans 8, 6, and 7. It promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When you intentionally engage with your education from this kind of spiritual mindset, where you're viewing math not as this annoying chore, but as an actual tool to love your neighbor, the incredible, undeniable result is true peace of mind. It just grounds absolutely everything you do.
So it all comes together to form what we call true wisdom. Math skills plus biblical morality equals blessing others and finding peace. You guys are building a really powerful tool belt today. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. How are you going to use your newly sharpened math tools, combined with your moral compass, to go out there and creatively shine your light in the world today? Get out there and solve some problems, 8th graders.